Hey everyone, my name is Pat, and back in 2015, I walked into a meeting and I quit my job. I quit my job because I wanted to start a wedding music business along with my twin brother. And that's not really the whole story. I had to go on unemployment for 6 months so I could spend all my time building the business, and I had a baby on the way. So there was a little bit of urgency. But during that time, I learned a ton. And I decided that I wanted to create a wedding music business course for other people to learn how to do this too. Now, this course isn't about what gear you should get or what DJ controller is the best for you. This is about the business behind how to do this. So, the first lesson I decided I want to give away for free so that you can see what it's like. And this lesson dives into whether or not you should subscribe to The Knot and WeddingWire. It helped us gain tremendous momentum in the beginning, but maybe it's not for everyone. So we dive into how we did it and what we did in order to gain that momentum. So hope you enjoy. And if you're interested in the full course, head over to patandseankelly.com and hit the course link. All right, hello and welcome to Module 1 and Lesson 1. Module 1 is called Internet is King. This is all focused on everything internet, everything from social media to your website to what we're going to talk about now, which is the wedding storefront. My name is Pat Kelly, and I'm the guy with the short hair. The other guy with the long hair is my twin brother, Sean, and we perform live music and DJ weddings in the Philadelphia area. And this whole course is to talk about how to build your own wedding music company. So we're going to go through in this lesson, we're going to go through basically whether or not you should purchase The Knot and WeddingWire. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, this is also the free lesson. So this is just a taste of what the entire course is like. So first off, we're going to talk about internet anxiety before we get into anything. This is basically the basis for, everything that you're doing on the internet, which is that very real feeling of hiring someone that you've never met before and you have to hire them from the internet. So put yourself in the shoes of a newly engaged couple. Kind of think about what it feels like to be engaged. If you've been married before and engaged before, then you know. You don't have a lot of control over a vendor that you find on the internet, and that's really where internet anxiety comes from. So what would you need to trust someone online? What are all the things? You can make your own list, but I'm going to go through it here. What would you need to trust someone online? And how would you know if they're a good fit for your wedding? And that word vibe, there's this word that a lot of people use. Oh yeah, they fit my vibe really well. That's something that you should really also keep in the back of your mind. That's a really good way to know if someone is a good fit for your wedding. So in this lesson, what we're really going to do is we're going to answer that question, like I said before, should you purchase The Knot and WeddingWire? And just to get some background on The Knot and WeddingWire, they're both owned by the same company now, XO Group, and this is something that happened within the last year and a half. And just to be completely transparent, we pay for a premium spot on The Knot. We don't pay for premium spot for WeddingWire. The current price as of 2019 was $427.50, and yes, it's 2020 now. The pricing has probably changed a bit, and we may at some point not be paying premium just because we get a lot of business from elsewhere. But right, at the time that I did this course, $427.50. And The Knot and WeddingWire essentially function very similarly, especially now that they're both owned by the same company. And that, again, that is kind of a big deal for the wedding industry in general. And you need to have at least 10 reviews a year to qualify for Best of Weddings. And basically what that means is, for both WeddingWire and The Knot, they require you to have at least 10 reviews so that you can qualify for basically an award through their website. So WeddingWire is Couples Choice Award, The Knot is Best of Weddings. And some other things that you should know about The Knot is that they are local, national, and global all at the same time. So when you pay that premium or for a premium spot or standard subscription, whatever it is, you're paying basically for local marketing through their website. So when someone looks up, for a DJ or for a live band, they're going to look in their zip code and they're going to find whoever it is in that area. They're national because they have a magazine that is national. that there are national articles in it. There's, they have a lot of articles online that are national, and they're global because they are in the international conversation for weddings. They are all those three things all at the same time: national, local, and global. And they have 1.4 million followers on Instagram as of 2020, which is a heck of a lot of followers. And I believe that WeddingWire has around 800,000. The Knot magazine is still very relevant and widely popular. If you are published in the Knot magazine, it's a pretty big deal and it's pretty awesome. I mean, you're up there with some of the best wedding professionals in the country. The Knot says that they require a 1-year contract for new professionals. Essentially, if you're going to sign up with the Knot, then they usually require a 1-year contract at least before you can decide that you want to cancel it. But honestly, they will let you try it out maybe for a month, 2 months, 3 months. They typically are pretty flexible with that, just so that they kind of get your foot in the door, and they want to get your money too. And our experience with the Knot, just to be, again, completely transparent so that what we've experienced, we are part of the Knot Hall of Fame, which simply means that we have won the best of weddings 4 years in a row. And you never lose that Hall of Fame status. The Knot was instrumental in how we gained momentum. So our experience has been a pretty positive one. We have been featured in the Knot magazine for New Jersey, and our sister company, Elephant Limbo, which is my wife's company, has been featured in the Knot magazine, PA and Delaware. And we were featured in it for a wedding that we did, and we were one of the vendors that did it, so we were featured in there. And then also my wife's company, Elephant Limbo, was featured in a local spotlight, which basically just tells about the company and the owner and stuff like that. And in 2016 and 2017, we booked a majority of our weddings from the Knot. It's kind of a big deal because that's really how we gained a good bit of momentum in the beginning stages. We did, of course, make relationships and create relationships with people that we met as soon as we could, and that really did help as well. But a majority of our weddings from 2016 and 2017, we got from the Knot. I would say around 60-70% were from the Knot, which again is huge. It's huge when you're building a company. And I've been to 2 different conferences for the Knot, and I've also been to the Knot Gala in 2019, which is essentially a big party for the best wedding professionals in the country. I was fortunate enough to have figured out how to get a ticket to go to the Knot Gala. And lastly, we have a great relationship with our sales rep from the Knot. It's been the same guy for the last 5 years. Consistency is awesome in this type of situation. So, he has been instrumental in helping us to understand and navigate everything, and super easy to work with, very, very kind. We've never had a bad experience with him. So when we first started, speaking of our sales rep, the Knot actually told us, and he actually had said to us, this might not work. I don't know if your approach to how you want to set up your storefront is going to work, because that's what it's all about. When you sign up for the Knot and WeddingWire, it's all about setting up your storefront, and we will look at what a storefront is and what it looks like in a little bit. So we were told that it wasn't going to work, and the reason is because we were approaching it as artists and individuals instead of as a company. And because we were doing that, it kind of felt a little different than what everyone else was doing. So they kind of said, hey, this might not work. The reason that we did that, the reason that we approached it differently, is because I noticed that every profile felt so similar on the Knot, especially for the DJ side. It was either a couple at their first dance. It was either a DJ, from the DJ booth with a photo. There were just a lot of things that just felt kind of the same or didn't feel very engaging. So we decided to try something different, which I'll explain in a sec. And just to kind of get an idea, after 3 months of being on the Knot, we were told that our metrics were way far above the average, and we were kind of being used as the example for our sales rep for other DJs or other musicians that were looking to get into the Knot. And this is an example here at the bottom. Just this past year from 2019, you can see that as far as the average goes, we were typically a good bit higher. So what did we do to book more weddings on the Knot? What was it that helped us to stick out? Well, first off, our artist approach was different than the rest of the profiles. I just explained that to you guys. Instead of it being a couple for their first dance, or instead of it being, something else that that just looks very similar to everyone else, we decided to put a photo up of the two of us. And we used that photo because we thought it would make a deeper connection with people. We wanted to have a different connection instead of the company connection. We wanted to have, these two dudes who decided to, go and do weddings. So we're twins and we're musicians and DJs, which is what I'm going to talk about next, which was instrumental because, the musician and DJ part really did help us a ton. And also what we did is we reached 10 reviews as soon as we could. So the double digits, I don't know what it is about just getting the 10 reviews. It just means legitimacy. When you go and you research something, whether you're purchasing a product or whether you're looking to inquire about, services from a vendor, when they have at least 10 reviews, that double digits just really helps to make it legit. And probably the most important thing is the niche differentiation. We offer two services, live music and DJing. Those two services kind of put us in another category where we have a specific niche. And having a niche essentially is helping us to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the people on that page. So when people type in their zip code and they see a bunch of profiles, they look at us and they're like, well, what's up with these two dudes? And so because we do live music and DJing, it helps us to kind of stick out. And it also allowed us to choose the cheaper option for the subscription. We were able to say, hey, why don't we just choose the DJing side? And people can say, oh, maybe I do want some live music. They know they're going to pay a little bit more, but they're not paying for a full band. They're paying for DJing plus the live music aspect. And that has kind of helped us to create a new little section of the music for weddings and kind of another idea of what people can choose. I'm going to go into more detail with the niche differentiation in another lesson in Module 2. And the last thing on what we did to book more weddings is I used mostly email instead of using the Knot platform to contact people. If someone gave me their email, I always use their email to contact them. The only time that I wouldn't use their email is if I know that I'm not available for that date. And critiquing the Knot, just kind of as, my opinion and what we've experienced. The Knot is a gatekeeper, so they're between you and the potential bookings. And that does kind of feel weird, and it is kind of a weird spot, especially if it's not working well for you. You don't really want to have that gatekeeper there. It does make me feel a little bit weird, but at the same time, it is a much higher percentage chance of you at least getting some inquiries from the Knot or from WeddingWire. The Knot has also bought two important brands. WeddingWire and Gigmasters are two great examples. So basically they're eating up the competition. Gigmasters, I think they turned into the Bash. And the reason that this is important because you're essentially going to the same place for all of this stuff. And yeah, again, that kind of feels weird. The gatekeeper thing feels weird. And the fact that they kind of own everyone feels weird. So that is, a little bit tough for me in my opinion. But at the same time, these are real people who are using the platform to find real vendors. And to me, that's the best part of it. So as I mentioned before, the Knot Pro app and the platform, it isn't always that great for me. We've had some issues with reviews not showing up. We've had some functionality and layout issues. I think it's kind of a mediocre layout. I don't have any major things that, I would say to them right now, but I do think that there are definitely the functionality of the reviews. That has to be number one. I mean, reviews are just imperative for us as wedding professionals. We rely on them heavily. And also, for you to get the best of wedding, it only requires 10 reviews. And the reason that I find that to be a little bit low of a number is because 10 reviews is 10 weddings. So if you have 10 weddings a year and you're just really intense about getting reviews from those couples, then you could get best of weddings and being part-time in it. Whereas someone like me who, we do My brother and I do 50, 60, 70 weddings a year. We kind of see it as like, oh man. So, for us, it's really easy to get 10 reviews. I really don't have to reach out to people that much if I want to get reviews, because there's enough people that I know they're just going to review, just based on how the industry works. But, if I was part-time, it wouldn't be that hard for me to get 10 reviews. So I think that it feels a little bit low, but at the same time, that it does help people to still get that best of weddings without having to be full-time in the industry. And overall, subscribing to The Knot doesn't work for everyone. I was booking for a wedding band for a while, and I was working with them pretty closely, and The Knot didn't really work that well for them. There were a lot of inquiries that didn't really go through, or I think within 2 years, they may have booked 3 or 4 weddings from The Knot, which just isn't enough for you to pay for it. Going beyond The Knot. So The Knot should be a resource, not a lifeline. Our goal is and always has been to create relationships with venues, vendors, and couples. That is really, really important to understand. That this is kind of the beginning of it. It can be a good resource later on, but it's also not going to always be consistent. And the reason is because more and more people are going to utilize this platform. They're going to utilize The Knot. They're going to utilize WeddingWire. So it should be a resource and not a lifeline. If that's all you're relying on, you got to start making those connections with those venues and vendors and the couples. And we no longer rely heavily on The Knot for booking. It still does play a role for us. I would say we book around 20 or 30%. I do recommend that you try not to rely heavily on it and look at your relationships and really build those relationships instead of relying just on the internet. There are still pockets that really don't reach as well, that The Knot really doesn't reach. For example, offbeat weddings, alternative weddings. There was an expo for a while from a DJ company called Lovesick in the Philly area. Awesome guys that run it. They don't do the expo anymore, but what we notice is that there's a big gap of people that don't really want to use The Knot, that they want something offbeat. They don't want just the trends. They want something that they really like. So should you purchase The Knot and WeddingWire? The short answer is yes, but do the math. Typically, if you book 2 extra gigs a month, it's worth it. If you're losing money after 3 to 6 months, it's probably not worth it. You should probably stop. But that means you have to figure out, what else am I going to do to get some momentum? Have I built any relationships with people to gain that momentum? And as mentioned, The Knot and WeddingWire typically ask for a 1-year contract for new professionals. They may give you a trial period, maybe even at a higher level. They might give you 3 months free premium. So try it, because they want you to get hooked, but just try it and keep an eye on it. See how it affects your business. And The Knot and WeddingWire, it doesn't have to be forever, but it could be the spark that gets your business off the ground. Sometimes we just need a few gigs, or we need a way just to get a flow of inquiries to see if we can close them. All right, so just to kind of get an idea of what you should do when you are trying to figure out how to approach what your profile is going to look like and what you're going to do, is you want to just take a look at the DJ side for whatever area you're from, whatever area you're going to go into, as far as if it's DJ, if it's live music, if it's Houston, Texas, if it's, wherever it is, then you want to take a look at everyone that is on here. And so you can kind of see there's kind of the categories of what I like to call like the normal DJ photo. It's usually either a couple together, right? Either on their first dance or doing some sort of dance, or it's, other people dancing, or something with the couple, of course. The couple just seems to be what a lot of people like to do. And then, of course, the dance floor, and sometimes you have the DJ, kind of the look from the DJ booth, right? And they take the picture either from the front or from the actual booth. And so you can kind of see that they all kind of have that same idea of what they think they should do. And a lot of that might be at the direction of The Knot, or it might be at the direction of what they think other people want to see. But what we did is we decided to take a look at this, and what would stick out? What would people see that was different than what else was on here? And that's kind of what I want to challenge you guys with. What can you do as far as, from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint? Try to do something that feels a little bit different and that doesn't necessarily feel, corporate or, like some sort of company, you want to try to make it personal. It is hard sometimes because you want to kind of go with what the industry is doing, because you want to feel like, well, how do I fit in? What should I do to fit into this industry? But at the same time, take it upon yourself to reflect your vibe so that you attract the people that like that vibe. And sometimes it can be tough, but I'm going to also give you a quick example of kind of what it looks like in the Philadelphia scene versus the Houston scene, just so you can see kind of what we did. All right, so now we are into the Philadelphia scene. So Philly, I think since we started, has changed a little bit. And as you can see, we have our friends here, Lovesick. They're good friends of ours. You can see they're definitely doing something a little bit different here. But then we also have some of the other entertainers that kind of do the similar thing, either a party, someone dancing, or a picture of the DJ or whatever it is. And then we also have another guy here, Anders Hyatt. I'll talk about him actually in another lesson, mainly because he's a really good example of what we're doing and someone else that's doing something similar. And you can kind of see that there's different people with kind of the same ideas and the same vibe. We are no longer featured here, so we might show up down here a little further. And as you can see, yep, so we're right here. And we obviously have the photo of us playing live music, which is very different than other people playing or DJing in a wedding or a couple dancing. I like to use this one as kind of like the main example of what you expect to see in the that first dance photo. There's a lot of the first dances with the fog machines. That's not the vibe that we're going for. The vibe that we're going for is clean, is the combination of live music and DJing. And this is a way for us to say, hey, yeah, we're DJs, but we're also live musicians, and people can see right here that, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why is he holding a guitar? I thought I was looking for DJs. So again, this is just an example of what we've done and what you can think about doing if there's something else that you can offer, and how to kind of figure out what's the best for you to do. Is it live music? Is it DJing? Where should I market? How should I do that? And that's how we've kind of come up with our formula to continue to get business through the knot. Here's a quick glance of what our storefront looks like on the knot. As you can see, we are not signed in, so this is what it looks like from the outside. The first picture that you see, which isn't our profile picture, our profile pictures, later on in this slideshow, but the first one that we have there is a picture of us, and then you can see we have a video there and another picture of us as well. And then another video just to kind of see how all of this is embedded and implemented. You can see this is a video of us doing a cover of Faith, and just kind of what it would look like from the outside perspective. Always good to go on and try to see exactly what it would look like. And then you go through, and then you see more pictures of things from weddings and what we look like when we're DJing, what we look like when we're performing live. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And the next lesson that we will talk about is Instagram and Facebook and social media, and how that kind of plays a role in your business and how imperative it is that you stay relevant. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks again. Later.